Hello, hello. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about the psychology of making a man chase after you. It's going to be so good. We'll give it a minute. We'll let people get on. Then we are going to cover the psychology of making a man chase after you. And any questions you have about getting the guy that you like. The psychology of making him chase after you. Do men get tired of chasing? Men in their masculine do not. They enjoy the chase. Why would your ex try to set you up with his friend? He's probably testing you, I would think. All right, we'll give it a minute, you guys, and then we are going to dive into the psychology of making a man chase after you. Psychology, all the ins and outs of getting the guy that you like to pursue you, to chase after you, all the stuff. Because I know that's what the girlies want. How to get him to chase after you. Hello, hello. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from before we get started. I'm curious. Thank you. Oh, the UK, Arkansas, Pennsylvania. Wow. Sweden. Oh my gosh. We got the whole globe here. Hello, hello. London. I love that, Bella. Canada. Hey, what's up? LA, one of my favorite cities. In Maltipoos, one of my favorite dogs. Toronto, hello. Awesome. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll give it one more minute and then we're going to get started with the lesson for tonight. I'm going to be talking through understanding the psychology of making a man chase after you. And I started recording all of my live streams on YouTube as well. So if you miss part of it or you need to revisit part of the lesson, they're all posted on my YouTube. So you can also check that out at a later time. If you ever need a reminder on this lesson, you can play it. Because I got the feedback from you guys that it was a lot. It was a lot to process at once, or maybe you missed parts of it. So now I have it up. Hey, from Michigan. Hello, hello, Mary Alice. Awesome. So if you're just joining, we're going to be covering today how to make a man chase after you and the psychology of how to do that. Louisiana, hello. You're so welcome. I'm happy to post them. The Philippines, hi. Wow, we have everybody. Everybody's here. Awesome. Okay, you guys, let's get started. So the lesson we're going to cover today is the psychology of making a man chase after you. Because really getting the guy of your dreams boils down to a few key things. And, you know, most women are raised to be the nice girl. But as adults, being the nice girl does not work to your benefit in dating. Usually the nice girl gets disrespected. She has weak boundaries. And then she gets used and abused by men. And I can't rest on that anymore, you guys. So we're going to dig into how to kind of shed that layer of being the nice girl and be the woman he respects. Be the woman he sees as his equal. Be the woman that he sees as the future mother of his children. That is the energy we're cultivating today. So first things first, we're going to really cover the chase instinct within masculine energy. I'm the nice girl. I used to be the nice girl too, babe. Do not worry. If you have been the nice girl, you can always change that. You can always rewrite your story. So understand, masculine energy is wired to pursue, solve, and earn. Pursue, solve, and earn. When there is no challenge associated with being with you, he sees it as not worth the investment of his time, attention, and energy. So, chase to a man is inspired by having to put in effort. Hard if that's making sense. So, masculine energy enjoys the pursuit. That's the thing. It's not like cumbersome to him to have to woo you and earn you and all the things. He secretly enjoys it. Men in their masculine like the challenge. Men in their feminine, they want to be lazy. They want to rest. Feminine energy is not lazy by any means, but it's a lot about resting, recharging, slow pace. A man in his feminine who wants a woman to pay his bills and wants to sit on his couch and play video games all day, he doesn't like the pursuit. These are these men that comment on my videos. No, I don't like to pursue. It's like, yeah, the call's coming from inside the house. We're talking about masculine men here. Men in their masculine enjoy the pursuit. They like having to problem solve. They like having to earn a woman. It always reminds me of that episode in Gossip Girl when Juliet was dating Nate, like the hunk of the show. Well, maybe Chuck was the hunk, but whatever. Nate was dating this girl, Juliet, and he had to work really hard to get her. And she tells him, like, I'm sure you're not used to working this hard to be with anyone because he's so gorgeous. And he goes, I actually kind of like it. He's like, it's refreshing. I don't normally have to work this hard for a girl, and I like it. That's what a masculine man responds to that. He enjoys having a woman he has to earn. Hard if this is making sense, or if you want me to elaborate on that. If he gets it easily, he takes it for granted. Exactly. Is the sound coming through okay on my headphones, you guys? Let me know. If it's like weird sounding, I'll take them out. So the chase to men, okay, it's coming through good. Okay, thank you. And the chase to men inspires effort to continue to chase after you. Remember, men bond through action, not words. If I could put that on a billboard, you guys, I would do it. With men, action is how they always really feel about you. So I have a lot of clients come to me and they tell me, this guy really likes me. He says that he's super into me, but he's not scheduling dates. He's not texting me. He's not calling me. He's not reaching out first. The hard facts to face is that the truth is in how he's acting. So whatever he says, throw it in the trash. Words are cheap. Men can say anything. God knows they do. Action is expensive. Action costs him energy, effort, money sometimes. That's how he truly feels about you. So if he actually really likes you, he'll put in the effort. He'll pursue you. He'll chase. So men bond through action, not words, promises. And here's the kicker. Here's the thing I see all the time. All of you as women have the most beautiful hearts, the most beautiful hearts. And it's instinctual for women to make men into our children. And what I mean by that is we give men unconditional love. But men are not our children. They did not earn or deserve, frankly, unconditional love. Because unfortunately, when you give a man unconditional love, you're also kind of giving him a green light for disrespect. You're saying, no matter what you do to me, it's unconditional. I'll stay. And when a man knows that you will stay through anything, he will put you through everything. Mark my words. A man is not your child. That's the truth. He doesn't get unconditional love. And you think as a woman, when you are giving a man unconditional love, that he's going to feel like he won the lottery. You've forgiven him over and over again. He's going to be so grateful. Unfortunately, what actually happens, he's slowly lowering your value in his head. Even though he's the one mistreating you, the fact that you're still standing there allowing him to mistreat you, he's like, wow, she'll deal with my disrespect. Wow, she really doesn't value herself. She doesn't respect herself. And he's thinking less and less of you. That's the hard truth, you guys. It sucks to say that, but that's the truth. A man is not your child. It's something instinctual in our brains as women that we begin to give unconditional love to men who don't earn it. Your children, yeah, of course. But your man, there better be boundaries. There better be respect between you and him for him to have access to you, for him to be in your life. So don't fall into the trap of thinking, I forgive him 100 times. He's going to be so grateful. No. He just knows he can get away with essentially murder, and you're going to stay with them. And he, in a weird way, respects you less for that. So here's some psychology insight. Yeah, forgiveness is not fellowship. That is a very valid point. Investment theory. The more effort someone puts into you, the more they value the outcome. And the analogy I always give for this, you guys, if you're not new to my channel, you know, before I was a dating coach, I was a fashion designer in New York City for 10 years. And the analogy I give for investment theory is imagine a pair of Dior booties. And there's two girls. They both live in Soho. And one gets a pair of Dior booties from her parents. She didn't have to earn them. She didn't have to work. She just got them gifted. The second girl had to intern at all these fashion houses and save up money and scrape together pennies to save up for these booties that she really wanted, these great Dior booties. Who of those two girls do you think is going to take better care of those booties once they get them? The girl who got them simply as a gift, or the girl who worked super hard, saved up her money, and earned them? Which one do you guys think is going to value those and take care of them and make sure she never loses them and hop over puddles and, God forbid, never scratch them? The girl who had to earn them, obviously. And that's why our brains associate when we have to work hard to get something, we're going to take better care of it once we get it. If you just give him yourself on a silver platter, he doesn't have to put in effort. He doesn't have to earn you. He's not going to value you as much when he's with you. Investment theory states the more effort someone puts in, the more they value the outcome. So when you make it harder for that guy to have a spot in your life, he values it more. And here's the thing, as a woman, it's so much wiser to make men earn a spot in your life. We all see the news. We all see what's going on with men. It is like, it is the Wild West out there in dating. Let's be real. You shouldn't, as a woman, it's not smart to let just any guy, no matter how cute he is, like what numbers in his bank account, no matter how charming he is, you should not let just any man into your life. Is it echoing, you guys? I'm sorry. You don't want to let just any man into your life. You need to make sure that you are vetting men and making them earn a spot in your life. And the irony, not only does that keep you safer, not only is that working to your advantage to vet out gross men who only want to hook up with you and then leave the next day and never speak to you again and leave you brokenhearted, but it makes the good guys value you more. Because what does it indirectly tell a guy when you aren't super keen to make him your boyfriend? It gives off needy. It's hard to hear me. Let me take my headphones out, you guys. Sorry. Can you guys hear me better now? Sorry, I just have my air on. Let me know if that's better, you guys. Okay, good. Perfect. So when you make a guy have to earn a spot in your life, he values it more. If he knows that you would date any guy who said he kind of likes you, first of all, that's giving off insecure vibes. That's giving off, I don't really know my value, and I am so desperate to be loved because I haven't cultivated self-love that I am going to date any guy who says he's interested in me, any guy who wants to date me. That's not hot girl energy. Hot girl energy is holding out for the right guy. It's knowing that you would rather be single than be with a guy who isn't a good boyfriend. Those are the buckets, you guys. The top bucket up here is being with a guy who makes your life better, having a healthy relationship that lights you up. Underneath that is being single. It's pouring into yourself, becoming an improved version of yourself. All the way down here in hell, that is being with a guy who drains you. That is being with a guy who constantly gives you a headache and ruins your day and makes your life worse. Yes, that is why it is so imperative that you love yourself. So the investment theory is the more effort a man has to put into you, the more he values the outcome. And the irony, not only is that smart as a woman, it attracts good men and it repels loser men. Loser men who just want to hook up with you, they're going to be like, this is way too much effort. I'm going to go talk to some other girl who doesn't make me put as much effort in. Great. You don't want that guy within 10 feet of you. Ew. A guy who actually wants to date you and marry you one day, he's going to be like, I'm willing to put in this effort. She's worth it. And now you just saved yourself heartache. The second psychology principle is the scarcity effect. The scarcity effect is when something is earned, we perceive its value as higher. So if something is really accessible, we associate that as being very ordinary. And if something is very ordinary, we perceive its value as lower, essentially. But when something is really rare, something is really difficult to obtain, then we perceive its value as higher. And a perfect example of this right now is these Labubus. They're selling on eBay for like what, $500? Like they're, I have one in my drawer here. My friend got me. It's not like an actual Labubu costs $500 to make. It's that they're super exclusive. And so we perceive its value as higher. And it's the same way with you as a woman. When you have a well-rounded life and you've decentered men, so you're not just like begging a guy to choose you because you know you're already chosen. You're not like so desperate to be loved because you already love yourself. Then you vet guys out and you only have a small amount of time to spend with them before they're your boyfriend. You only have one night free a week. And the irony is that when you have one night free a week, instead of the entire week, any night you can make work because you're so desperate to see him. When your time is more rare, he perceives it as higher value. He feels lucky to be on a date with you. I think I've decentered men too much. Yeah, that makes sense. You guys, I get the weirdest comments on YouTube. Like men love my YouTube lives. I get the oddest comments. I can't. This guy said, I'm going to get track shoes and run to you. The fuck does that mean? All right. I digress. So now we're going to talk about, yeah, I can't make this shit up, you guys. YouTube is like it has niched me in a weird pocket of men. Okay, great. All right. I want to hear from you guys. Have you ever felt a guy pull away right after you were super available? Because I feel like I did that when I was younger. I thought that if a guy leaned back and I leaned forward, that would make him like me. But actually, with a masculine man, it makes him see that you are willing to stoop so low that you're willing to chase after him, and then he values you less. How old am I? I'm 31. All right. Awesome. So if you are just joining, thank you guys. If you're just joining, we're covering the psychology of making a man chase after you. And if you missed the section we just covered, this live is going to be posted on my YouTube. I'm posting all my lives on my YouTube. So if you missed part of it, you want to come back and review it, you want to play me in the background while you clean your house, whatever. It's all on YouTube. So if you're just joining, we are covering the psychology of making a man chase after you. And so to highlight everything we just covered, masculine energy is wired to pursue, solve, and earn. When there is no challenge in dating you, a man is less likely to invest time. Masculine men, they like having a challenge. They like having someone to pursue. Men bond through action, not through words. Whatever he says, you guys throw it in the trash. I have asked so many men, the hard truth is, they know. They know if they give you a lot of compliments, they tell you they see you as their future wife, you're going to be like putty in their hand. I have had guy friends tell me women should be extremely skeptical of the things that men say. Words cost them nothing. And I think as women, we don't say things we don't mean. We only say what we truly mean. And so we forget that there are men out there or people in general out there who don't always mean what they say. You have to be skeptical. Yeah, talk is cheap. So listening to his actions above all. So the psychology behind this, yes, shut our ears and open our eyes. Pay attention to his actions. That's how you know how he really feels. Because I have clients, they come to me and they're like, he says he really likes me. He says this and that, but he doesn't call and he doesn't text and I never see him. And I get it. Like I was there when I was younger, you guys, before I had my ex-lover girl glow up. And the hard truth is if he is telling you he likes you, but he's not acting like it, he doesn't like you. His actions are how he actually feels. And I'm saying that with love because all of you deserve better than a guy who doesn't like you. You deserve better than a guy who's stringing you along. It's his loss. You lose nothing. So, investment theory is the more effort a man has to put into you, the more he values the outcome. So, keep that in mind. The right guy wants to earn you, he wants to work to get you. I actually asked probably the most healed man I know. He is like a demigod. I asked him a few weeks ago when we hung out. I was like, "Would you like a girl you didn't have to earn?" And I, in my head, thought, this man is so healed. He's like literally walks on water in my eyes. He is just like, and I thought for sure he was going to be like, "Yeah, it wouldn't matter to me." And he was like, "No, I like women I have to earn." I was like, all right, if this evolved man is saying it, it's fact, essentially. Make him earn it. Make him earn it. He has to prove that he's worthy of a spot in your life. He doesn't just get it because he has a chiseled jawline and because he paid for dinner. As if. You know so many demigods? Connect me. I know one. And the second principle is scarcity. When somebody has to earn something, they perceive its value as higher. Or because he's tall. That is facts. Just because he's 6'4" doesn't mean you want to date him. Although, you guys, I'm human. I do appreciate a tall man. I wouldn't lie to you. All right. Part number 2. We're going to dive into how to break the cycle of women chasing after men. First of all, any of you who are doing that stops today. You as a woman are so above chasing after a man. The sperm swims to the egg. And that is why it feels so unnatural as a woman to chase after man. Chasing, when I'm talking about chasing here, it's you constantly initiating contact with him, you calling him, you asking when you're going to see him again. It's not like you can never text him first. I don't believe that. But I would say like 5 times to 1. He should really be in his masculine pursuing you, reaching out to you, trying to get a date with you. A lot of times the reason that women chase after men comes down to an anxious attachment. An anxious attachment is when you associate when a man pulls back as reflective of you. A securely attached person sees it reflective of him or the situation. So here's what I mean by that. Say that you are seeing a guy and you text him one morning, "Good morning," and he doesn't respond all day. The anxious attachment is like, "Oh my God, he's lost interest in me. Oh my God, he's not texting me because I said this thing last week and now he doesn't like me." They personalize it. But a securely attached person in that same scenario would respond by saying, "Oh, he didn't text me back. He must be really busy at work. Oh, he didn't text me back. He must be exhausted. Maybe he didn't sleep well." They don't see it as reflective of them. Is that making sense? The difference between anxious and secure. So if you have an anxious attachment, a lot of times this drives women to overtext men, to overthink scenarios. So in your head, you're ruminating on what you said and what you did. And, what did he mean by this? And why hasn't he reached out in the last 30 minutes? And is he pulling back? And you are constantly playing FBI. And unfortunately, a lot of times this leads to making up scenarios that don't exist in your head. It doesn't serve you. And the third thing is it makes you overfix. You've made a scenario up in your head. "Oh my God, he's not texting back because of me. I'm going to call him." And then you call him and you're like, "I'm so sorry. Da, 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 da." And he's like, "What are you talking about? I've been in a meeting all morning." It's not an attractive energy. That's really the bottom line. It's not an attractive energy. So a lot of times women chase because of unresolved inner child wounds. And I would say fundamentally, it's I have to earn love instead of realizing as a human being, you don't have to earn love, you just get love. It's not something you earn, it's something you give and receive. But if you had a parent who was in and out of your life or emotionally unavailable or a controlling sibling, you will have the narrative internally that you have to earn love or you're not good enough. And then that plays out in your adult relationships as you trying to constantly prove your worth to a man, or you thinking that he can like you one day and feel no way about you the next day. And it's not good or bad. Like everybody on earth has wounds from their childhood. But the good news is, as adults, we can all do the inner work to heal them. It's not like because you went through this, you're doomed by any means. No. So understand that if you have an anxious attachment, your body is biologically craving regulation that a man is not giving. If he's hot and cold, or if you constantly have to reach out to him, your body and your mind is seeking clarity from a man who's hot and cold. It's like, make this make sense. I know I've been there when I was younger. So understanding cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and oxytocin, which is the cuddle hormone. So the stress hormone and the cuddle hormone, when those are out of whack, that's when emotional imbalance, emotional inconsistency creates that addiction. So that's when you begin chasing after a man. You're stressed out half the time, and the other half time you're with him and you're cuddling. And you're getting the cortisol from the stress when you don't know why he's acting weird. You're getting the oxytocin from the cuddling. And the up and down internally within your body makes you addicted. You want stability. You don't want the up and down anymore. And that's why I understand a lot of times the way that you will rationalize that to yourself as a woman is you will think it's because he's so great. I know I did that when I was younger. I literally look back at the guys that strung me along before I came into my power as a woman. And it was, you guys, I would be embarrassed to show you. Because at the time, I thought that guy was so cool and so funny. And oh my God, if we dated, it'd be so amazing. And now I look back and I'm like, thank God that I did not hitch my ride to that guy all my life. It's just the imbalance. And the way that your brain will rationalize it is by seeing that guy as really special. You can find my YouTube. I have it linked in my bio on TikTok, but it's also just my username. @clevergirl_Carissa. The other thing with a guy who's hot and cold is it makes you addicted to him the same way that slot machines work in Vegas. Because when you don't know when you're going to get a text back from him, because he's really sporadic and consistent, when you finally do get that text from him, you get a dopamine rush. And then your body goes through the withdrawal when he's like inconsistent again, and it seeks to get that dopamine rush again. That's how slot machines work. You play it and you pull it. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. But the fact that you sometimes win makes you keep pulling it. That's why there's people in Vegas. They're like, one more time. This is going to be the time. This is going to be the time. And that's why I meet with clients that are the most incredible women. And they're like, I'm on my 15th round with this guy, but this time it's going to work out. I have an enormous amount of empathy because I know it's a chemical addiction. It's intermittent reinforcement. It's never about the guy. And that's why I always call F-boys are a fog. F-boys are like a fog, and you date them and they're inconsistent and you can't see clearly. And so you rationalize it as this guy's super cool. If we just dated, it'd be great. If he just reached his potential, it'd be amazing. But then you get some space and you look back in a few years at that guy who had you in an effing headlock, who you let walk all over you. And you're like, ew, that guy's nothing. Why was I so down bad for like a DJ or like a promoter? I'm trying to think of other, for a player. Why was I so down bad for a guy who didn't even have a bed spring? For a guy who like doesn't eat anything green? Why was I so down bad for that guy? We all do it, you guys. There's no shame here, but not a DJ. Why is it always a DJ? Why is it always a DJ, you guys? It's intermittent reinforcement. You are hooked on the idea of that guy. It is not him. It's not always a DJ. Then what is it, you guys? A hot bartender? I can see that too. So I want to hear from you guys. In your dating lives, are you usually the one who chases a guy or gets chased? There's no judgment here, but I want to understand like where you guys are. So I know if we need to cover this again, we need to dive in deeper. Are you chasing? You're a little bit of both. That makes sense. I used to chase, not anymore. Good. I get chased, but end up with avoidance. Yeah, really common. Push, pull, chase the guy. No more chasing. I'm working on attracting. I love that. Chase the guy. Yeah, there's no shame here, you guys. We've all been there. Ended up with avoidance a lot of the time. Yeah. Overall get chased, but I did run into a guy who chased. Neither, it keeps fading. Starts with them chasing, then ends up chasing them when I feel the shift. Yeah. It's really common. Push, pull, then get ghosted. Yeah, totally. Chasing the guy. Yeah. I'm recovered. I love that. Oh my God, I love that. F-boy recovery. Been there. All right. So if you're just joining, we're going through the psychology of getting a man to chase after you. If you missed the beginning of it, it's on YouTube. It'll be saved the whole live. So we're covering why women get stuck in the cycle of chasing after a man. Usually it boils down to, just to cover what we discussed, an anxious attachment. When you're anxious, you personalize a man's behavior. So when he doesn't text back for an hour, you're like, oh my God, he doesn't like me. Oh my God, he's changed his mind. When he's like in a meeting. It has nothing to do with you, but your anxious attachment is flaring up and personalizing it. And the psychology behind this, is cortisone and oxytocin imbalance. Cortisone is the stress hormone. So you're stressed when you're not with him. But then oxytocin, the cuddle hormone, that's going every time you're cuddling with him, every time you're hooking up with him. See, worst idea. Do not hook up with men you're not in a relationship with because your body gets attached to them. What if I am disorganized? Does that count? Yes, absolutely. And the other thing is you will fall into the trap of chasing after him because of intermittent reinforcement. It's the same as gambling. Your brain will rationalize it that it's because that guy's really special or because he's really funny or because, I don't know, whatever random reason it is. Usually it's that he's 6'4" and doesn't text you back. I mean, honestly. Yeah, it can feel like self-sabotage. Absolutely. So now we're going to cover how to go from having an anxious attachment, to using using mystery to become magnetic. Going from an anxious attachment to using mystery to become magnetic. Mystery is not about hiding things. I think this gets misconstrued a lot. Mystery is not like he asked me what town I'm from and I'm not going to tell him. That is not what I mean when I say mystery. Mystery is about revealing things about yourself intentionally. This is widely misconstrued online. At least I feel that being an open book is something very admirable. That if you are an open book, you're like more real, I think, is like the tone. But in reality, it takes a lot of skill to filter the words coming out of your mouth and be more intentional about what you're saying. And when you are more intentional about the words that come out of your mouth, people listen to it more. Think about in like an office setting. Who's talking a lot like this and talking really fast and has no filter and is just like really anxious? A lower employee. But a boss is comfortable with silence. He's thoughtful. He or she is thoughtful about their words. And that makes everyone regard them higher. And so using mystery is about being intentional. It's not over talking. It's making him have to earn your stories. It's not sitting on a first date and trauma dumping. One, you don't know if that guy is going to add more damage to that. He hasn't earned the right. He hasn't shown you he's worthy of hearing those intimate stories. And two, it's a lot to receive, even as a healthy person. When you're not in the state, you're not like okayed the trauma dump, it is a lot to receive. So mystery, being intentional about the words coming out of your mouth. And understand magnetic energy, really the root of that, if we're going to get into like the biology of having magnetic energy, it's nervous system regulation. It's being calm, it's being embodied, and it's being emotionally stable. That's the magnetic energy. Somebody who has a dysregulated nervous system flies off the handles, gets really angry easily, like out of nowhere. That's not magnetic energy. I know in May, I went to the spiritual camp, and there was a very nice woman there. There's no shade. There was a very nice woman there, but she didn't have good emotional regulation. And you just never knew when she was going to be set off and start shouting at this camp. It was like a pretty intimate camp. It was like 30 people. And I'm telling you, you could just see everyone in the room. Like, you never knew when she was going to go off. And so it was like kind of like being on eggshells when you were near her, because you just never wanted to get pulled into it. That's the opposite of magnetic energy. But people who are really calm, they're embodied. And by embodied, I mean very present. The opposite of embodied would be somebody who's really in their head. And I'm talking about if you guys go on a first date and you're constantly wondering, does he like me? Am I going to get a second date? Is he into me? Does he think I'm pretty? He can feel that energy. You're in your head. You're overthinking. Embodied is like, I'm present. I'm here on this date to have fun. I'm not worried about tomorrow. I'm just in the moment. That's a hot, sexy energy. And people can feel it. So here are the key energetic shifts to get this energy. Replace urgency with curiosity. So if you are on a first date, for example, instead of being like, I need to ask him, is he looking for marriage? Is he looking for children? And like literally interviewing him, being like, I'm curious. Are we looking for the same things? I want to get to know you. I'm curious. Are we a good match? Your self worth is not on the line. Whether this guy likes you or not, irrelevant. You were that bitch before you met him, and you will be that bitch after. How he feels about you, irrelevant. Replace, does he like me, to, is this aligned? Hey, Ray Ray. Replacing, how do I get this man to like me? Does he like me? How does he feel about me? To, are we a good match? Your self-worth is not dependent on how he feels about you. So you're just looking for a guy that's an organic match to you. Hard if this is making sense. Moving into this magnetic energy. If you're just joining, we're going over the psychology of making a man chase you. And I've been posting all of my lives on YouTube. So if you missed the beginning or you have to leave early or whatever, you can catch the replay on YouTube. All right. So now we're going to dig into how to shift the dynamic. If you have gotten into the habit of pursuing a man, reaching out to him, seeing how he's doing, obsessing over him, this is that moment. This is the moment where it all changes and we're flipping the dynamic. No more. No more. So here are a few lines to tell him to reclaim your power. First and foremost, you need to pull back. So if you are texting him a lot, you're initiating a lot, you need to cut that out and allow him to come to you. I see this happen a lot with my clients is they get into the habit of reaching out to him all the time and then he gets used to that. So he stops initiating because he's like, I don't need to initiate. She's going to reach out to me, even if he really liked her in the beginning. So you need to show him you're not willing to chase after him anymore. I did that and now he seems bored. If you pull back and a guy is acting bored, then he's not the right guy for you. There are definitely men out there who have this internal narrative that they think a woman should chase after them, and that's men and they're feminine. I'd be caught dead dating a man like that. I'd be caught dead with a guy who thought I should pursue him. I'd rather be alone. That's a hill I will die on. So if you stop reaching out to him and the conversation goes flat, it was likely a lost cause. My saying that I always tell my clients with this is stop watering dead plants. If the only time you and him are having a conversation is when you're reaching out to him, that's a dead plant. And it's only staying alive because you're putting in the work. A relationship has to be reciprocal. I mean, that feels obvious. Thank you, Dante. I miss you. So here are a few lines to say to a guy that you can copy and paste these to take back your power. Hey, I really enjoy connecting with you, but I also prioritize what's best for me. So if he doesn't want to commit to you, for example, hey, Chad, we have so much fun and I really like connecting with you, but I also want to prioritize what's best for me. You guys can take or leave this. A man will always do what's best for him. And you should do it as a woman too. Another line I love, Yay, Dante. I can't wait to hear the update. Um, another line is, I'm not here to convince anyone to choose me. I'm looking for aligned energy. So you're still being honest, you're still being transparent. Like, I'm looking for a relationship, but not to the extent that I'm willing to force a connection. And then lastly is silence, the most powerful thing of all. It talks about this in the book 48 Laws of Power, one of my favorite books. I talk about it all the time. It is such a powerful book, you guys. It was banned in prisons. That's how incredible this book is. That's how good and usable the psychology in it is. 48 Laws of Power. And one of the chapters is use absence to, I can't remember the way it's phrased, use absence to reestablish your worth. I don't think that's the exact way it's phrased, but when you pull back, you show him you're not willing to chase after him, he perceives your value as higher. You're not going to put effort into a guy who's not prioritizing you. You're above that. You're not going to stoop so low that you chase after a man. Ew. I would even look at it as it's like, if a guy said something super obnoxious, I would respond with silence because I would be like, I'm not dignifying that with a response. Or if a guy did me so dirty, I would be like, you're not even worth the breath in my lungs to yell at you right now. That's how lowly I think of you. Like, that's the attitude. Obviously, that's in a scenario where he like cheats on you. That's not like your average fight, but yeah. Let me know. I'm curious. I want to hear from you guys. Have you ever used silence to your benefit, or is this a new concept? Because once you know, silence is like your go-to. Yes, you've used it. Awesome. New concept. Totally. I've been there. Yes. Awesome. New concept. I've been there. All the time. So powerful. Yes, Dante, you're a queen. Silence is a response. Yes. Highly affected. Yeah. My ex treated me badly and we ended it and never talked. I love that. Yes, and I've never felt better about the situation. Exactly. It's queen energy, you guys. Silence is queen energy. Especially from a guy who did you so dirty, who disempowered you, who basically showed you with his actions that he's not willing to respect you or be loyal to you or whatever. Silence is the best response. It's like, you just lost access to me. All right, so if you're just joining this live, we're covering today the psychology of making a man chase after you. And if you missed the beginning, this will be up on my YouTube, the entire live. So you can go back if you need to review some sections or you missed it. Define silence. Is it ignoring or blocking? It's ignoring. I'm not super pro block on here. Obviously, if a guy did you like super dirty or he won't stop reaching out, then I would block him. Like, obviously prioritize your mental sanity. But if you can, like if you just had an relatively amicable breakup, I would just go ghost. Because one day you will not care about that guy and you will be with a much better man. And it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm vengeful. I don't care. I do get a little bit of satisfaction of like, oh, this guy who did me dirty, now you can watch me thrive. Like, you fumbled me, now you can watch the guy who didn't. Maybe that's a personal choice. But Blocking also gives him a lot of like it's weird to men. Good attention and bad attention is just attention, and either way, it feeds their ego. So when you block him, to a man, it's like, "Oh, I was so important to her. She had to block me? Wow. I'm so important." If you just don't respond, he's like, "Oh, why isn't she responding?" It's like not the same ego validation, if that makes sense. The name of the book is 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Incredible book. You guys, I'd highly suggest it. All right. So now we're going to dive into the masculine mindset. What actually makes men chase after you? Not what you've just been told, the truth. What actually makes him pursue you? Here's the highlight. It's not what you've been told. It's not the superficial shit that women are convinced gets them the guy. It's not looking a certain way or being a certain size, having a certain amount of success, wearing a designer diesel top. It's not the superficial shit. That's what I would drive home to you guys. It actually comes down to when a man feels emotionally intrigued. That's the word, intrigued. The same way that you as a woman, you want a man who gives you safety, who gives you security. Men long for a woman who is intriguing to them. The way that my guy friend said it to me, it was like 2 weekends ago. He just started dating this girl. And you guys, this guy is like, oh my God, he could be the Bachelor. I've never seen women chase after a guy more than this one. He's probably my best guy friend. He started dating this girl. And so, of course, trying to get the nuggets of gold for you guys. I'm like grilling him. Like, what does this girl have that like the 100 other women competing to date you don't have? And he's like, honestly, she's fascinating. Like, I'm fascinated by her. Like, I keep wanting to spend more time with her because every time I do, she's so interesting. And that was his way of saying he's intrigued. He doesn't have her figured out. She's revealing herself slowly. He's earning her stories. Things I always talk to you guys about. He's intrigued. So he's inspired, he's incentivized to pursue her, to chase her. When you present yourself as like, oh, here's my life story front to back. Do you do anything fun on the weekends? No, not really. Do you have any hobbies? No, not really. He's like, I'm bored. Men are drawn to women who disrupt their pattern, that are different than their day-to-day. They are not drawn to women who conform to their comfort. What does that mean? We talked about this at the very beginning of the live. Men are not attracted, they are not passionate about the nice girl. The majority of women were raised to be nice. We were told if you're nice, that's, you're a good person, essentially. That's how I was raised, at least. But you know what? Being nice all the time, most of us it's led to us being disrespected by men as adults. It is so much better to be respected by a man than to be nice. And the irony is most men do not want the nice girl because the nice girl is boring. They want the sassy girl. They want the girl who, not toxic. That's not what I'm saying. Don't twist my words. But they want a woman they can't completely figure out on the first date. They want to be intrigued. That's the word, intrigued. Yes, kindness taken for weakness. Yes, Ron, that is a good point. But while staying in your feminine energy, absolutely. So with intrigue, it's not about lying about yourself, but it's about presenting it in a way where it's like cliffhangers, for example. What does a cliffhanger do to us on a TV show? It makes us watch the next episode or watch the next season. It makes you have to know the answer to that question. You can present yourself as a cliffhanger, and that makes him intrigued. So if you're telling him a story, be like, actually, I'll tell you the end of it next time. Or put in some things that contradict yourself. So if you're sitting at the dinner and you're like, I'm an angel, I, give to charity, and I'm on my church board, and I'm this and this and this. In his head, he's labeled you as like, oh, she's an angel. And then he says, wow, you seem like you're so heavenly. Then say something contradictory. Well, not all the time. He's like, wait, what? And his brain like short circuits. And he's like, the fuck did she mean by that? I have to take her on a second date. I have to see this other side to her. That's intrigue. Now he goes home and he lays his head on his pillow and he's like, what did she mean by that? I have to know. It's that simple. A man associates you, when you present him with intrigue, with positive tension. Positive tension to a man is the feeling of, what will she do next? This can include being spontaneous. That's intriguing to men. Don't always have a routine. Routine is boring. Routine smothers the flame of desire. It's comfortable, but remember, as we just discussed, men don't want a girl who's comfortable. Maybe a lazy guy, I guess. I don't know. Because here's the thing. It talks about this in the book Human Nature by Robert Greene, another book by my favorite author. Human Nature is a book, and it's really about all the different like ins and outs of the human psyche. And one of them is that we as adults all have an internal nostalgia for when we were younger. Why? Because when we were younger, life was really fun. Our biggest worry was how we were going to smuggle fucking alcohol out this weekend for the high school party. It was just fun. But now as adults, we all have rent to pay. Things are much heavier. We have health crisis, So we all internally yearn for those younger years. And you can use this internal longing to your advantage in dating. When you are spontaneous, it pulls at that nostalgia that everybody has, including men, for those younger years. It's fun. It's exciting. It's not boring. Never once. I've interviewed hundreds of men, you guys, on what they're looking for in a partner. Not one has said they're looking for a boring girl. Duh. Lean into that. It literally could be as simple as like you're out to dinner and you're like, hey, I heard there's a comedy show around the corner. Do you want to go? Or if you're in a relationship, being like, hey, babe, want to take a road trip up to like hike at Yosemite next weekend? Yeah, let's fucking do it. This is why I'm still on his mind. Yeah. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. This is like the secret sauce. So now we're going to talk about psychological hooks. This is called the Z effect. The brain remembers unfinished interactions over finished interactions. This is similar to the cliffhanger thing we just talked about. You want to move in to live rent-free in that guy's head? It's by being unfinished business to him. It's by leaving him wanting more. If you're on the phone with him, be the first one to hang up. Not like hang up on him, but be like, I have to go, babe. The brain remembers unfinished interactions. In the book, I feel like this is like the Bible for women who are dating, Why Men Love Bitches. In the book, it talks about being a little elusive as a woman. When a man feels like he never fully has you, you're always evading him a little bit, you're unfinished business. And that's what the Z effect is. Whereas the woman who he has all figured out, she's finished business, there's no mystery to solve there. We know he knows the answer. He's not intrigued. Remember, we just talked about the thing men want above all? He wants excitement. He wants a challenge. And the other thing is the contrast principle. That's the other psychological hook here. When you're unlike what he's used to, so you're fun if he's used to boring women, you're exciting, you're spontaneous if he's used to just a dinner and drink and home, then he's obsessed with you. Now you're different. So if you are constantly, it's not like you have to constantly be doing wild things, you guys. It's just literally like leaning into fun. Make dating fun again. I mean, seriously. It's become this like very heavy task because it's just on both sides. It's becoming very tiresome to date nowadays because of the apps and like all the stuff that it like people are going into dating with a very heavy mindset and they're very spent on like, oh my God, it's not going to work out. And I get it. I empathize with that. But when you have this fun energy, it makes men want to date you. It makes them see you as special because as adults, we're all so busy that you have to actively, in my opinion, make fun a priority to have it in your life. Unless maybe you're just a really fun person. In that case, good for you. Hard if this is making sense, you guys. Hard if this is resonating. Awesome. So if every other woman over explains herself to that man, and you're the one who simply pauses and leaves space, leaves silence, you're going to linger in his mind. You're going to be special. That's how he'll explain it. She's different. She's special. He won't know how to articulate it, but it sets you apart. Yeah. It drives men nuts. Bring back fun. Who doesn't want a more fun life? I mean, honestly. All right, you guys. Now we're going to dive into the energetic boundaries that make you unforgettable to men. Remember, I always tell you guys, boundaries are how you teach men how to treat you. When you hold strong boundaries, you inspire men to rise up to meet the boundary or remove themselves. And this is like a key point I want to really drive home to you guys before we dive into boundaries, because I have clients come to me and they're like, Carissa, I held this boundary that I don't sleep with men before we're exclusive. And he said, then he doesn't want to date me. So the boundary's not working. It didn't incentivize him to step up and treat me better. It didn't incentivize him to be my boyfriend. And I'm telling them, yeah, that's the point of a boundary. It filters out loser men who just want to sleep with you and then never date you. The right men will rise up to meet your standards. The wrong men, the men who have no intention of being a good partner to you, they will be like, this is too much work to hook up with a girl. I'm going to go bother somebody else. And therefore, you just saved yourself a ton of heartache. So when you are holding boundaries, if men do not meet that standard, it means it's working. Don't be discouraged. Don't think you're doing it wrong. Look at a boundary as a filter. A boundary filters the good guys from the bad guys. It tells you his true intentions without you having to actually ask it. And also, you can't ask a man his true intentions. He's never going to tell you. He's going to lie. I mean, or he's going to give you some vague answer. That's why you have to be wiser. You have to be more clever. And it's not necessarily about saying your boundaries. That's the other thing. Like if you tell a guy, I'm not going to sleep with you until we're exclusive, then there might be men out there who will just wait until that moment, sleep with you, and still leave. It's really about embodying your boundaries. So you're not telling him, I'm high value. I only accept XYZ. You're demonstrating that with your behavior. And it's not by kind of nagging him or begging him or getting angry. It's by showing it's by reacting to disrespect with distance. Reacting to disrespect with distance. So, for example, a boundary I would have is if a man says he's going to do something, he needs to do it. His word needs to mean something if I'm in a relationship with a man. So if my man then says he's going to call me at 8:00 and it's 9 p.m., he calls, I'm not going to pick up the phone and yell at him and say, you said you were going to do XYZ. No, I'd leave it go. I'd let it ring. And then I'd go to bed. So whatever your boundary is, we'll cover a few key ones here. It's holding it strong. And then anytime a man doesn't meet it, it's not overreacting. Because again, that's just giving him power. That's making him feel really important to you. It's remaining the main character of your life and reacting to disrespect with disinterest. So the chase with a man begins when he realizes you have standards he can't manipulate. And this is the other thing I want to highlight about boundaries. If you hold a boundary, it has to be rock fucking solid. Rock fucking solid. If you continually fold on your boundaries, then you are showing him that they are wafer thin. And now the next time you set a boundary, you've taught him that it's negotiable. It's malleable. He can cross it and still have space in your life. Then all your boundaries are going to be up for discussion. Mark my words. So if you hold a boundary, you have to show that you're willing to have a backbone about it. So a key boundary is not responding to low effort energy in men. So it's not a punishment either. It's not like I'm not responding to punish you. It's self-respect. It's self-respect. If a guy said that he wanted to take me out and then he texted me like an hour and was before the date and was like, "Hey, want to get dinner tonight?" No. You weren't adult enough to book a dinner. Give me 24 hours notice. No. Is the answer. And it's not because I'm punishing him. It's because self-respect. You need to plan a date. I'm not just what you're going to I'm not what you're going to do or how you're going to spend your time when you are bored one night. As fucking if. Because as I was saying earlier, if you accept that last minute date, you're teaching him it's okay to call you an hour before and book the date last minute. And then he's going to continue to do that go forward. I remember years ago, like maybe 10 years ago, I was dating this guy who wanted to take me on vacation. And he hadn't offered to buy the plane ticket yet. And I was asking my guy friend, like, should I just buy the ticket? I had the money. It wasn't a big deal. This guy bought the whole vacation. And I was asking my guy friend, like, is it a big deal? Should I just buy the ticket? And my guy friend was like, it's not a big deal if you buy the ticket, Carissa, but then just know the expectation go forward is that you always buy the flight. So you're kind of teaching him how to treat you based on the treatment you accept, you know? And whether you want to buy the flight or not, that's your business. But I'm just saying, you think it's one time, but it's never one time. You're always teaching him what's acceptable, how it's acceptable to treat you. Hard if this is making sense, you guys, or if you want me to elaborate on that more, if you have any questions regarding that. Men treat you the way you allow them to treat you. What do I think about the boundary of waiting for marriage? That's totally your call. I think that's a fair boundary to have if that's important to you. How do you take your power back after being weak? If you've allowed a man to cross your boundaries, it's pulling back, not continuing to feed into him crossing your boundary. So some key boundaries that I tell my clients. One is, I kind of just touched on it. A guy needs to schedule a date 24 hours in advance. Like I said, you are not what he does when he has a random night free and he's bored, as if. The second thing is he needs to confirm the date by 2 p.m. the day of. So if you have dinner Wednesday night at 8 p.m., by 2 p.m. Wednesday, he better text you, hey, Chris, are we still on for tonight? Or you don't have a date, or make other plans, or you're busy. That's etiquette. The third thing, you are not texting him after 10 p.m. And some of you guys come back to me and you're like, but I'm up until 2 a.m. That's irrelevant, if I'm being honest. Because what you're indirectly telling a guy when you are not in a committed relationship and you are texting him into the wee hours of the night is that you are willing to sacrifice your time to like collect yourself, whether it be sleeping or showering or working out, whatever. You're willing to sacrifice your personal time to communicate with him all the time. It's really like beating a dead horse. Like it's too much too soon. So by 10 p.m., you're done. You're prioritizing yourself and you will speak to him in the morning. And if you know anything about men, you know that if you stop texting him by 10, next morning he will be waiting to get your text. When you're overly available, he cares less. If you're texting him all the time, he cares less. I'm telling you that. 10 p.m., stop texting him for those multiple reasons I just discussed. The other boundary, and this is one I will not negotiate with any of you. This is like absolutely never go over to a guy's house in the middle of the night. If he calls you at 2 a.m. because he's drunk, I don't care if you think you can go over there and cuddle with him. It's what you are teaching him when you allow, like, yeah, maybe you can go over there and cuddle. I believe you. It's not like that's impossible. But you are telling him it's okay to booty call me in the middle of the night and I will drop everything and come over. No, all of you are so above a booty call. Never allow a man to treat you like that. You're better off dating a cockroach on the side of the street than dating a man who booty calls you. Never. That's a hard boundary. I would suggest you don't respond. But if you have to respond, you don't take my advice, just don't go over there. That's the bottom line. I'm trying to think if there's any other boundaries. A boundary is a guy needs to commit to you before you sleep with him. That's another hard boundary for multiple reasons, but because you as a woman don't want to get attached to a man before you have commitment from him. What other boundaries do I have with women? Those are the key ones. I'm curious, what other boundaries do you guys hold in your dating life? Was there any I missed that you think I should add? I want to hear the boundaries that are really important to you. Physical touch boundaries. Yeah, no screaming. That's a really good one. Physical touch, yeah. Not being demanding with my time and energy, that's really good too. Yes, Brittany. What about not dating other women, not just you? Until you and that man are exclusive, I think it's totally fair for him to date other women. Until you've had the conversation about being exclusive, you also should be dating other men. You shouldn't be sinking all your eggs into one basket. Not kissing on the first date. Yeah, that's a fair boundary to have. Not giving your number out to a guy you just met. I would give my Instagram, personally, if I was dating. We are talking about the psychology of making a man chase after you. Those are some good boundaries, you guys. If you want my full list of boundaries, I also, in my TikTok bio, I have a free book. It's like a free ebook. And I list out all the boundaries. It's literally free. So if you want like more information about boundaries. Yeah. Awesome. You guys killed it. You amaze me. All right. Awesome. Now we're going to discuss, if you're just joining, we're covering the psychology of making a man chase after you. And if you missed the beginning, do not worry. I am uploading all of my lives on YouTube. So if you missed the beginning or there's a section you want to go over again, whatever, it's all up on my YouTube. So you can listen to it again, or you can go back and see what you missed. So now we're going to talk about becoming the woman a man naturally chases. Becoming the woman that he naturally chases. You become magnetic the more authentic you are. And what I mean by that is, I think really right now, especially because social media is so prominent, that there is this pressure to come off as like very polished or like very, I'm trying to think, like not weird. But the crazy thing is, and this is not just my opinion, there's a lot of research to support this. We actually find other people's quirks or like random interests as very relatable. Like we love people who have a weird quirk or whatever because it's interesting. It's special. Social media thinks, God forbid, any of us be different. But it's actually working to your advantage. And so being magnetic is not saying you don't have like any of these quirks or whatever, but it's like leaning into it more. And so I think about a few years ago, I went on a date with this guy who was brilliant. He was so crazy, dumb, smart. And he was like obsessed with tea. He had like gone several times to Japan, and he had like a tea coach who was really successful. So he had like a tea coach, and he had like a tea house at his house. It was like a separate tea house where he grew the leaves, and he would do like tea ceremonies in his house. I have never to this day met another person who was like that. And that is so random and so cool. And now to this day, you guys, every time I have a cup of matcha or I see matcha, I think of this guy that I went on one date with. We only had the one date. And so leaning into your quirks, leaning into your individualism, that is what makes you relatable to a man. It's like, I'm owning who I am. That's confidence. Confidence is not like I'm perfect. Everything about me is perfect. It's like I accept everything about me, the good and the bad. That's confidence. Confidence is I don't give a fuck what you think about it. I like it. I like the tea, whatever. When we meet people who accept themselves, it is magnetic because it gives us a permission slip to accept ourselves. That is magnetic energy. The second thing that inspires men to chase, men are naturally drawn to women who are mysterious. Don't lay it all out for him. Make him have to earn it. Be a little coy. That's the attitude. Like, if you're flirting with someone, literally thinking in your head, like, I know a secret about him. I know a little secret. It's like that coy attitude that men are like, I need to know more. I need to hang out with her again. And the last thing, as Christina mentioned, thank you, is detaching. Whether this guy likes you back or not, irrelevant. You were that bitch before he came into the picture, and you'll be that bitch when he leaves it. How he feels about you doesn't matter. Does it pay your bills? Does it make you worthy or not? And the irony is the less you try to prove your worth to him, the more he's going to like you. And I would say, particularly, you guys, with successful men. A lot of the successful men I know, they have so many women who are so, I'm trying to think of the right word, who want to date them so badly that they're willing to do a lot of things to impress him. They're like, I'm amazing in bed. Or I'm such a good girlfriend. I bake all the time. Think about anytime someone tries to like shove something in our face, we want it less. Like I think about there was this jeans on Poshmark I was bidding on, and I put in a bid for $150, and they countered, and then I didn't respond because I was like, oh, do I really want them? And then she countered again, and she countered, and she kept lowering the price of these jeans. And suddenly I was questioning. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with these jeans? Like, why is she so adamant that I buy them? It's the same way when you're trying to prove your worth to a man. Yeah, it's pick Misha. It's desperate. It makes him be like, why is she trying to prove she's a good girlfriend to me so bad? It's giving like, I don't have other options energy. If you have other options, you could take or leave this guy. That's the kind of girl he's like, why does she not care? Chase is an ego boost for men. Pursuing you is exclusivity. Yes, 100%. He has to make her care. Yeah. I talked about this in a few of my videos, but there was during COVID, I was in Miami, and I was staying in a house of like 6 guys. I had my own room, but it was like me and all my guy friends. These guys are all super successful, very handsome, charming men. And so as you can imagine, in Miami, they were kind of making their way through it. These men didn't care about any women. They were just trying to have fun. I'll put that out there. But then all of a sudden, this one girl came in, and it was like 3 of them were competing for this girl. And of course, you guys, I was like studying this girl. I was like, what does she have? Because so many women have been through these doors, and these men could take or leave them. But this one girl had all these guys in a tailspin competing to date her, not just hook up with her, not just take her to dinner, date her. And you know what it was? She really had like an aura of like disinterest. And to all these successful men who had so many options, it like didn't math in their head. Why does she not care? And then they all wanted to be the one that she cared about. And I wouldn't even say it's about like being disinterested. It's about only being impressed by men who make the effort. Hard if this is making sense, you guys, or if you need more examples. Because this is an important concept, and I really want you guys to hammer this home. Did she end up with the guy? She did end up dating the one for a while. And then he moved back to London, and she stayed in Miami. Hi from Australia. All right, awesome. So I'm glad that's resonating with you guys. So if you're just joining, we're covering the psychology of making a man chase after you. And if you missed the beginning, it's going to be posted on my YouTube. So you can catch the replay if you want to go over it. So now we're going to cover what's an example of being coy. I'm usually sassy and kind. Yeah. Being coy is just kind of like having like an aura of like, I know something you don't know. It's like kind of like a smirk. It's just like an energy more than anything. It's very seductive, I would say. Yeah, playful. So the myth of being the chill girl versus being magnetic. You guys, if you follow me, you know I hate the chill girl, the cool girl. This is like some lie women have been fed that keeps them being used and abused by men. At least when I was in my 20s, when I was younger, it was like so admirable to be the cool girl. But you know what the cool girl actually is? A woman with weak boundaries who pretends to be okay with things she's not okay with. And now that I'm a little bit older, I'm like, wow, I would so much rather have strong boundaries and be the not cool girl than be the cool girl and get walked all over. No questions asked. And here's the thing, a lot of women confuse being unbothered with being emotionally unavailable or casual. If you are looking for a committed relationship, never do the casual sex thing with a guy. I'll just say that outright. It rarely, like 1% leads to an actual relationship. It's usually just teaching him that you're willing to stick around and hang out with him without a commitment. It's usually, this is a trajectory of it. A steep downhill. A one-way path to get brokenhearted. Being unbothered does not mean that you are chill with everything. Being unbothered means you have your own back and you know whatever happens, you're going to be okay. Whether this guy chooses you or not, you're still that bitch. Whether this guy calls you or doesn't, you still have an amazing life. It's not giving a man the power to choose your worth. And all of you possess that power, by the way, to simply decide your worth. It's not up for a man to decide. I'm not going to go on a tangent about that because last time I was talking about men like that, I got in trouble with TikTok Live. But a man is not worthy of deciding your worth as a woman. I'll leave it at that. Cool girl energy. Thanks, Heather. Cool girl energy often suppresses your truth to maintain and appeal to men. A man probably did report me. Yeah, that is probably fact. When you allow a man to walk all over you, it's a lose-lose. Because one, you don't get what you actually desire. And then two, resentment builds. Even if you like stomach it and you're like, yeah, I'm okay with hooking up and not being in a committed relationship. It's cool. You resent him a little because you're like, why aren't you committing to me? Why aren't you doing it? It's lose-lose. And you're also just encouraging him to continue to treat you like that. My mom used to always tell me, people treat you the way you allow them to treat you. I had a very tough mother. She was very hard on me growing up. And anytime I came home crying over a guy, it wasn't like, oh, Carissa, I'm so sorry. Carissa, that's a bummer. He's so awful. It was, what did you do, Carissa, to make him think he's allowed to treat you like that? And sometimes it's hard, but I do think it's empowering to not be a victim to men and be like, how could I have shown up differently to get a different result so that I don't repeat this cycle with the next guy? There's a lot of power in being the victor, not the victim in your life. Hard if you're on board with that, because I do think that's like hawk girl energy, is being the victor, not the victim of your life. Yes. The second thing about this, magnetic women express their standards without a fear of loss. And this is really that mindset, that mantra I drill home to you guys. I always win. I too have this mantra. And it applies to all areas of life, not just your dating life. I always win, whether I get the job or I don't. I always win. The universe has my back. Maybe that job would have been great. Maybe it would have been awful. Maybe I would have hated it. Maybe I would have gotten fired eventually. It gives you a level of detachment. Whether that guy asked you on a second date or not, I always win. Maybe we would have fallen madly in love. Maybe he would have broken my heart and I would have been in a worse place than I am now. The universe sees what you don't see. It helps to have a level of faith, of surrender. Because then you're not thrown by every setback, perceived setback. You know, if you don't have that mantra that I always win, and he doesn't call you for the second date, you spiral. Why aren't I good enough? What did I do? Da, da, da. But you have that mindset, I always win. He doesn't call. You're like, well, there's going to be a better guy. I have the faith. I have the surrender in the universe. I always win. And when that's your inner dialogue, you see it in your reality. And fundamentally, as a woman, you never lose anybody, they lose you. That's a hill I'll die on. Especially if you're a good-hearted woman. You're a loyal woman. That mentality keeps you in a high vibration, and then you attract in a great man significantly easier. If you see every setback as a reason you're not good enough, evidence that every man rejects you, evidence that men are trash, whatever, you're vibrating at a very low level. It's going to be really difficult to attract in a great guy up here. Oh, he definitely lost something great. Yes, I love that energy. How can we apply this with long-term relationships? In long-term relationships, it's having that level of detachment about the outcome. Because especially if you've invested months, years into a guy, it's really easy to be like, this is my person. We're going to end up together forever. And to have all these expectations building about your future. But God forbid that guy wakes up one morning, changes his mind. He wants to backpack across Europe alone, whatever. It's knowing I always win. Obviously, you're devastated. There's something shameful about having emotions and being disappointed. But also having the knowledge that if that was really your forever person, it's organic. Like I meet clients sometimes and they'll tell me like, oh my God, I sent him this text or I did this small thing. And if I hadn't said that, everything would be different. And they're kind of spiraling about like little details in the relationship. And I always tell them with the right guy, the margin of lenience is so large. Short of cheating on that guy, there is nothing you can do to repel the guy that is meant for you. But with the guy who's not meant for you, the lenience of error, oh my God, it's so small. You can't do anything right because he's not meant for you. And women try to cling to it and so badly try to like fit a square peg in a round hole or whatever that saying is. And it will work for a period of time. But if you have to force it, if you have to force him to be with you, you have to manipulate him to choose you, it's short-lived. And when you have a guy who just organically chooses you, oh my God, it's so much fucking better. I mean, it's incomparable. So magnetic women express their standards without a fear of loss. You always win as a woman. You have nothing to fear. And the third thing is you don't have to pretend not to care. You have to care for yourself more. So it's, I like this guy, I'm into this guy, but your self-respect has to always be higher than your feelings for a man. If it ever comes between you or him, you have to choose yourself. And you have to remember the only person you are going to have your entire life is you. You have to start treating yourself like you would your best friend. I don't know what it is in the human psyche where it's like, if a guy does my best friend dirty, oh my God, he's dead to me. That guy better not look in my direction. I never want to see him. He's done. But then when it's you in the scenario, a lot of us allow men to walk all over us. None of you anymore, obviously. But it's so much easier to have weak boundaries with yourself. So you have to start treating yourself the same way you would with your best friend. And accessing, would I advise my best friend to give this guy the 30th chance? No. You'd be like, you get one chance and you fucked it up, you're gone. That's how I would, at least with my best friends. I think they deserve like private islands and men who give them the world on a platter. Have that same respect, that same value for yourself. So we're flipping the script from being, I'm cool with whatever. The cool girl, that she's gone. She's dead. RIP. None of us are trying to be the cool girl. Cool girl is just shorthand for gets walked all over, doormat energy, weak boundaries, doesn't have her own back, wants men to like her so bad that she's willing to abandon herself, which is not cool energy. I don't understand that. No, like don't give in to the lie that a lot of women have been told. I know when I was 21 and I first moved to New York City, my boss gave me the advice when I was dating to be an easy breezy cover girl. She was like, just go with the flow, be super easygoing. And so I did that because I was like, I don't know up from down. I just moved to New York City from a small town. And it was the roughest ride, you guys. It was the worst advice. Well-intentioned, I'm sure. But being the cool girl just gets you walked all over. Men just see it as like, oh, she'll let me walk all over her. I can do whatever I want. So buckle up because he's about to test that. Changing that to, I love when things feel intentional. I prioritize myself. I'm not looking for anything casual. Having your own back, prioritizing yourself. Hard if that's making sense or if you guys need more examples. Yeah, it's show, not tell. Yeah, that's a great point, Christina. It's not just like telling him, you can't treat me like this. Here's my boundary. Da, 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 da. It's showing him. And it's showing him by if he crosses a boundary, you're pulling back your energy. You're responding to his disrespect with disinterest. You're not begging him to act right. You're not convincing him to treat you well. You're thanking him when he is respectful. Thank you so much for picking me up for dinner. That was so nice of you to go out of your way. But if he crosses your boundary, I mean, disinterest, pulling back. I remember like a few years ago, I went on a date with this guy who was super cute. He was this cute doctor that lives in Manhattan. And he was like very pushy about getting me to come home with him on the first date, which like as if. And he asked me the first time. The first time's free. I don't know what it is in men. They can't help themselves. And I was like, no, I don't really do that. But, I had a really good time tonight. And so we went out and we got a drink at another spot. He asked me again. And I was like a little bit more irritated. I was like, no, but thanks, whatever. The third time he asked, I was so done. I was like, the first two times were free. The third time you asked for it. And I remember I was on Park Ave and I whipped around and he had a sister And I was like, what would you say if a guy treated your sister like this? And he was like, oh, he's like trying to rationalize it. Well, I'm like, no, you're going to stand here and you're going to tell me exactly how you would react if a man treated your sister like this. Oh, whatever. Bullshit. But he doesn't get to just walk all over me and see the light of day again, as if. Yeah, they hate when you put them on the spot. That is so true. So true. All right. And lastly, we're going to get into, did I walk away after? For sure. I was repulsed at that point. I don't care who you are. You can't treat me like that. The push-pull dynamic and how to use it with integrity. So how to not use it as like a game or like as manipulation. Because unfortunately, a lot of women use pullback as punishment, which is unhealthy. Really, it's just taking back your power, reestablishing the power dynamic in a relationship. So understanding the push-pull dynamic creates tension when it's rooted in authentic energy. And here's the difference between using it as manipulation. Manipulation is like a guy isn't doing exactly what you wanted him to. So you're going to stonewall him. You're going to not respond to him for days. That's toxic. That's kind of like setting the groundwork for a toxic relationship. Every time he doesn't do exactly what you want, you're going to pull back. That's not going to lead to a healthy, loving relationship. But the push-pull is that you have a life outside of this guy, and therefore you don't have a ton of time to respond to him. And so there naturally is distance. Like I've been on this live now for 2 hours. I haven't responded to my text. I'm busy. That's okay. I have a life that's healthy. And so when you go through periods of silence, of space, it reestablishes desire. I think about me and my partner. We both travel so much that it's like sometimes feels like long distance. And if I go through like a 2-week period of not seeing him, when I see him, super hot and heavy, have to have him now. I missed him so much. It's created that tension, that desire. But when, I feel like everyone has experienced this. When you're around a guy too much, by day 7 or 8, you're like, get away. It's annoying. So too much on top of each other, it smothers the flame of desire. Space is healthy in a relationship. If you cannot deal with space in your relationship, that is a sign of codependence. Codependence, it can feel great to have a guy around you all the time. It can feel great to have a guy obsessed with you, but eventually it becomes too much. Eventually it becomes control. It feels smothering. So push-pull method is not, oh, he texted me late, so I'm going to wait 4 hours to text him. It's, I'm going to prioritize myself, and if he's being inconsistent, I'm certainly not going to prioritize him. And it's really more about pulling back your energy instead of your words. So again, it's not saying like, I'm going to punish you, or I'm angry, or da 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 da. It's like, all right, he said he was going to call and he didn't call. So now I'm going to go to bed. I'm not going to wait up all night for him to call when he said he was going to, and then he didn't. That's pick me vibes. That's, I'm waiting around. Please call me. Please give me worth. Please give me identity and purpose in my life. No man deserves that. You are the star. You are the main character of your life. And the more you hold that energy of like, oh, this guy's just a side dish, a cute 6'4" side dish, then he likes you more. To a man, when he feels like he's the reason you're happy, it's too much pressure, especially in a long-term relationship. Women who know how to make themselves happy, it talks about this in the book. What book is this from? Why Men Love Bitches. If you know how to make yourself happy, to a man, it's freeing because no longer is the responsibility on him to figure out how to make you happy. You know how to make yourself happy, and it's easier for him to date you. And statistically, your happiness resets a year after being in a relationship. So if you're like a 5 out of 10 happiness before when you're single, you meet your dream guy, you're a 10 for a year. After that year elapses, you're back to 5. So really, if you think once you find your dream guy, it's going to be sunshine and daisies. I mean, first of all, ask anyone in a relationship. They will tell you it is a lot of hard work. It is certainly not utopia. But realize that's not the solution to your life. Finding your partner, your soulmate, whatever. Yes, that is incredible. Yes, that's why I made this channel, because I want all of you to have the experience of true love and really know what that union is like. It's amazing. And still, he's not the reason you get up in the morning. You are. Take back the power of your life. No man deserves that. Yes, someone on YouTube said, I like to call that the codependent fairy tale. Totally been there. Exactly. Exactly. It is like this fairy tale that so many women have been fed, that like once you find the right guy, everything falls into place. No. Which I think is really empowering. That means you don't have to wait for that guy for your life to have meaning or come full circle. Your life is amazing now. And the more that you can cultivate that energy and become happier, the better of a person you're going to attract in. Carissa, do you believe all men cheat? Statistically, 50% of men cheat. I definitely think there's loyal men out there. They're more rare. Like, I'm not saying they're easy to find, but they definitely exist. And this is why a lot of times I tell you guys, even though I know it's hard, I know how tough the dating scene is right now, sometimes the most radical thing you can do is have hope that you can find the right guy. And I feel like that's really scary for some women to admit that they want a relationship. It's so much easier to be like, the bar's set in hell, men are trash. Because why? That gives you a level of comfort of like, why even try? It's awful. Then you don't have to be vulnerable. Then you don't have to put yourself out there. Then you don't have to get hurt. And that's fine if you never want to find a healthy relationship. But if that's what you yearn for internally, step number 1 is admitting that that's what you want. And step 2 is changing your internal dialogue, because we see what we believe. So if you believe all men are trash, this is called a confirmation bias in psychology. This is literally like when they do research and they're studying something. If their hypothesis is, if I flip a coin, or that's not a good example. If my hypothesis is like all the frogs are going to be hopping up and down on a table when I come in, confirmation bias says that's what you're going to see. We seek internally to prove ourselves correct. So if you believe all men suck, all men are trash, you are subconsciously seeking to prove yourself right. And you're ignoring all contradictory data. So you have to change the narrative in your head from like, men suck, I'll never find a great guy. Then that's what you're going to see in your reality. Change it to, there are great guys everywhere looking for women like me. I use this with my clients all the time. And so many of them, you guys, have found amazing relationships. It just like, fuels me. I love it. And step 1 is admitting that that's what you want. And step 2 is changing the narrative. And watch your whole world slowly shift. How do you recognize non-cheaters? You have to ask questions about a guy's dating past. The past is the best predictor of how he's going to behave in the future. So if you sit down to dinner, first or second or third date, I would ask, do you have, once you're into the conversation, have you ever cheated on somebody? And then really listen to like 2% of what he says because he'll probably make up a lie, but assess how he's acting. Like, is he getting nervous when you bring up cheating? Is he like fidgeting or avoiding eye contact? Or, sometimes they'll like blame their ex and talk about how horrible she is. That's a red flag because you could be his ex one day that he's trashing. Or two, I had a guy do this one time. He like tried to put a pretty bow on it. He was like, "Well, technically, we weren't together." As soon as he pulled out technically, I was like, "You cheated on that poor girl." That's the best predictor of if he's going to cheat again in the future. It's obviously not bulletproof. People can change, good or bad, but that's a helpful way to determine, like, if he has a history of cheating, I personally would not date him. I do believe people can change. I do believe people can grow. Would I bet the lives on my future children that a guy who has a history of cheating will never cheat again? Personally, my decision would be no. But do what you want. It's your life. Yes, watch men's actions, not what they say. When they lie, you feel it in your gut. Yes, 100%. Feminine intuition, unfucking matched. If you know, you know. I always say I can taste lies. Like, there's just something like off when a guy lies to me that I'm like, that's not the truth. Or there's more to that story. Yeah. True. My ex cheated on his ex-wife and ex-girlfriend. And guess what? He cheated on me too. Yeah. I hate to say always a cheater, once a cheater, always a cheater, but like there has been so many times in my personal life that has rang true. Like, I'm sure it's not always true, but I've seen it time and time again. Thank you, Diana. I'm so happy this is helping. So, if you guys are just joining, we covered today the psychology of making a man chase after you. And if you missed some of the live, it will be posted full length on YouTube. I'm going to be posting them forever on YouTube. So there's a few other ones on there. So you can go back and look at them, or if there's like parts that you missed, you want to look at again. The quality on my laptop camera isn't good, but I'm going to fix it. I'm going to get a camera. A very lustful man will most likely always cheat. Yeah. All right, you guys, I have like 5 minutes before I need to go make myself dinner. It's 9 o'clock. I'm eating a little late. That's okay. You guys are worth it. What questions do you have about this live, or anything you want me to cover again, or anything going on in your personal lives? Let's do just a really short Q&A because I love to hear what's going on in your guys' lives. What do you talk to your guy friends about versus someone you're dating? A lot of times I grill my guy friends on what they're looking for in women, what kind of qualities stick out to them. If there's certain theories going on TikTok, like cab light theory would be an example, I'm like asking all of them. Of course, I'm asking my partner as well, but my guy friends are the ones who are like actively dating. And most of my guy friends are, well, all of my guy friends, I would say actually, are like handsome golden retriever boyfriends who are also very successful. So they're like in the pool of men that you guys actually want to date that would be good partners to you. That's why, like, sometimes people kind of criticize me and they're like, why aren't you using like the masses of men's advice? And that's because most of you don't want to date the masses of men. Most of the masses of men, as we discussed, are cheating on their partners, lying to women, following Andrew Tate for dating advice, like all this bullshit where it's like, you don't want the masses of men. You want a very specific type of man who's going to treat you well, be a good father to your children, provide for you, emotionally support you. That's what I want. That's the men I want to ask questions to. Where do you meet men authentically? A great way to meet men is through sporting clubs. So, like paddle clubs are really big in LA, or pickleball clubs in Miami. golf clubs, things like that. Those are where high value men hang out and they're looking to be social. Another great way is lounges. So like Soho House, oh, what's the one in LA? There's one in LA that starts with a B, but whatever. It's like more laid back, exclusive clubs where people are going to socialize. That's another great one. Um, those would be, oh, and the last one would be mutual friends. I always tell you guys, network like your life fucking depends on it. And even if you don't like that guy, befriend him because maybe if you like his vibe, but maybe you don't like him physically, he has a friend who's a similar vibe and more your physical type. So if I was single, I would be going to like tech conferences and meeting all the men there. Or I would be, whatever your type is, going to Home Depot and asking for help, I don't know, building something, whatever your your specific type is. That's what I would be doing, putting yourself in places that these men hang out. Yes, we don't value trash men's opinions. No, not today and not tomorrow. What else, you guys? I have a few more minutes. What's going on in your dating lives? Yes, you need to go on lots of dates. Look at it as like practice. Look at it as a fun time. You're welcome, Diana. What if he pulls back for 2 days after a date? Prioritize yourself. Have a full life that you don't even notice if he doesn't text you. Have other men on your roster. Then when one misbehaves, you can focus on the other ones. How to know when to ask for exclusivity. 3 months is really the mark that you should be having conversations with guys about being exclusive. And the way that you phrase it, the way that the high value woman phrases it is, I want something intentional. I'm looking for something committed. And so I want to make sure we want the same things. Otherwise, I'm going to prioritize other men. So you're not giving him the power of saying, like, you decide what we do, you decide what we are. You're saying, this is what I want, having control, having power. And it's just saying it in a logical tone. Like, if you don't want the same thing than me, then it doesn't make sense for us to keep seeing each other. It doesn't make sense for us to keep spending time together. Dating stage, asking for 50% bill, 50-50 bill. Is it okay? I mean, I wouldn't. My promise to you guys was that I would never advise you to do something that I would not personally do. 50-50 on a first date, never. I don't really think 50-50 ever, if I'm being 100, but it's your life. I would give the caveat that if you were younger and maybe he wasn't where he wanted to be financially, but he was working really hard, he was really ambitious, then I would compromise on that because he's showing me he's building a future for us. It's not like men are just born financially stable out of the gate. But if he's showing me the initiative that he has that drive to provide for me financially, provide for our future family, then I would be okay with it because I would see the reward at the end of it. What do guys want or expect the girl to chase them now or initiate? Why? Because there are women who will do that. There are definitely women who will do that. But chasing a guy and getting him to spend time with you and go on a date with you doesn't mean he respects you. Any woman who's chasing after a man, he's like seeing her as an option. He's not seeing her as the dream girl never chases. All right, you guys, I have to go eat. I'm so hungry. But thank you so much for joining in the live. Again, in case you missed it, this entire live will be posted on YouTube. So if you want to replay it or you missed a part, go back. The psychology of getting a man to chase after you. It was so good to connect with you guys. I promised to do more lives, and I've been trying to stick true to that. It's so fun. It's so fun to chat with you guys at night and hear what's going on in your dating lives. If you need support, I do one-on-ones, and you can book that through the link in my bio. You can book an hour session with me. We can chat about what's going on in your dating life, how to fix it, all the things. But otherwise, usually I'm on at 7 or 8 East Coast time. Happy cooking. Thank you. All right. I'm sending you guys so much love. Have the best night ever.